let's just talk about weird anecdotes. One of my favorite things to do, at least at the last place I went to, was the group, the like youth group would actually go to an island. If you've ever been to the Massachusetts area, there's an island called Nantucket. And so if, there's actually like a drink kind of like Snapple called Nantucket Nectar. It's pretty good. It's a little bit sweet for me, but that's like the only frame of reference I can give for what this place is. Okay, but so it was very common to go to Nantucket for kind of a weekend. And it was great, actually. The only way to get to Nantucket is via ferry. So, you know, not Tinkerbell. God damn it. I'm gonna preempt that before somebody gets snarky with me. But so you had to take like a really high-speed ferry, which is fascinating to do. It takes about an hour to, you know, cross, I don't know, a couple miles of ocean. And it's just interesting to be on a boat moving that fast. I've never been on a boat moving that fast, and it was just an interesting experience all around. But so we go to Nantucket, and then we'd actually go around singing various carols and whatnot, because I want to say, actually, I have no idea when this was. Might have been Easter, then we'd usually go. But effectively, we would go around singing for old people's homes, because this is a very popular place to retire, because it's kind of tropical. It does get, like, freakishly cold here, but it's effectively the Florida of Massachusetts if you don't want to go all the way down to Florida. Okay. But, Nantucket isn't a real place. Don't be a bullshitter. It's a real place. It's actually a really nice place. They also don't allow cars there for the most part, which is fascinating. At least not in terms of, like, the main city, or the main town. So we spent a lot of time biking around on, like, tandem bicycles and stuff, which was actually really adorable to do. It was just, you know, the weather was always good, so we just take the group, go out biking, and, you know, seeing old people, chatting with them, and eating hors d'oeuvres, and whatever, and every once in a while we'd sing. I am not a singer. I'd usually just kind of stand there humming, looking happy, or whatever. I don't know, holding the door for people. I generally was not there for a meaningful reason apart from just the fact that I wanted to be there because going to an island for a weekend sounded like a blast. And it was. Now Birdcatcher's making fun of me. Birdcatcher, the night Muslim. But so we would go, we would sing. It was pleasant. I really appreciated it. Unfortunately, eventually the like main church leader, stuff like that, was the main church leader gets cycled out. I think it was a Methodist church, so it's very common to have, you know, the priests switch out. Ah, that's a bomb. But weirdly enough, does not do damage to me. Wonder if they changed that around. Might have. Okay, but so eventually he had to go. So for a year and a half, we had kind of like interim people that wouldn't go on the island. So instead, it would be like somebody's parent, as well as this like one lady that was just always attached to the church. I have no idea if she ever had a job. I don't know if her job was just being kind of like a church organizer. I truly do not know. But I can't imagine this lady ever held a job before, because her people skills were atrocious. She was the kind of person that hated teenagers, unreasonably so, yet she was the youth group leader. So she would, like, just anytime there's any question of, like, should anything be fun? The answer is no, because she didn't like the idea. It wasn't interesting or it wasn't godly enough. So it's just like, alright, you know, another one of these ladies. I know how to handle them. AKA ignore them, go off, do my own thing. And since they really don't have much of an authority, it's just kind of like, alright, leave. This is what we're looking for. This is why I saved all of my money, instead of just buying all sorts of frivolous things here. Look at all of this cash. I'm gonna absorb as much as I can, while I can, instead of doing stupid things. Okay, but so, you know, this lady was anti-fun, fairly anti-teenager, didn't really have a creative bone in her body, so whenever we would play, like, board games, she would just sit there and look at us angrily. And it's just, well, what do you expect us to do? We're stuck here for, like, you know, a whole weekend, and it's raining. So we were doing one where you had to, it's effectively fibbage. Actually, no, it was fibbage, before fibbage got turned into a video game. Okay, let's start buying these things. I almost got all of them. Look at this! Ooh, hello. Now we have almost everything that we need to win. Unfortunately, I do not have the, I do not have the healing I need to keep the swords up. That's okay, don't care. Her job for being an old lady. That's the crazy thing. She was 28. She was, like, not that much younger, not that much older than us. She might have been maybe in her 30s, but she was, like, pretty close to 30, if not just a little bit above. Not an old lady at all, just a very bitter human being. And so, like, she would watch us play Fibbage and just sniff, and it's just like, well, what do you expect us to do? What do you want to do? And she would, like, God, I don't even remember what she wanted to do, but it was dumb. It was just unquestionably dumb. This is also kind of the time when, like, Axe was being truly first marketed really aggressively. Sword machine gun. Oh, yeah. Why is it that Shark is my best character? I hated Shark. I don't even know. I'm not even wearing a hat. Probably should have actually put a hat on. Why is there no randomized color and randomized hat button in this game? I do not understand. There should be one. Okay. But no, only 28. Does that mean you're an old lady too? Yeah, see, that's my point. 28 is not old. 28, I mean, I'm almost 25. Like, that, she's barely older than what I currently am now. And she was just, like, super anti-fun, no idea of, like, fun things to do, so on and so forth. And she just was not nice. Like, she would snap, she would be cranky, she was the kind of personality that felt like she hadn't had her morning coffee yet. And it was, like, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, you're not exactly what I was looking for, but alright, I'll deal with it. I really need some healing here. Ah, right, it's this room again. You know what, let's just leave. This room is a nightmare. Fueled with horrors. Okay, let's get some health back. Very slowly, but more than enough for what we need. Do I only have, like, one jump here? I do. Or one extra jump. I can deal with it. Especially because I've got infinite jackhammer. And my health is looking pretty good here. Oh, it's looking absolutely good. There's no way you can kill us. Beautiful. Where's the item? Oh, we're spawned in vial. Why not? But so, this is also the, like, era where, like, Axe body spray was getting, like, marketed to everyone as, like, the super sexy scent. So, we had a bunch of, like, middle school girls on the trip. I mean, I was a middle school boy for all of this, so it's just, like, I mean, to some degree, this could have ended in poorly. Luckily, I mean, I was a chubby nerd and it had nothing to do with any of them, so it's just like, alright, well, we don't have to worry about any canoodling. But she watched us all like a hawk. Like, something was going on at all times. Like, somebody was going to have a, somebody was going to go well out of their way to make a baby as, like, oh, shoot, how old were we? 14, 15-year-olds? Like, she was very much, she was very much kind of like anti-everything, and it's just like, you know what? No, we're playing cards. Just because I'm sitting next to this girl across the table from me, no less, and like looking at her and laughing, does not mean you have to come in and tell us to knock it off. Otherwise, God will be sad or something. I don't remember what her phrase was, but it was pretty much equal parts crazy and disturbing, in any way, shape, or form. Okay, but so we have Crazy Lady. And she's just the anti-fun brigade for the like, entire weekend. And eventually it got to the point where, like, we couldn't even, like, go outside or, like, go on adventures. So at one point, oh, right, I remembered. One of the things we did was, this is right when, the movie Corpse Bride was coming out. Which is not a Tim Allen movie, shoot, who's the person that did the, Tim Burton, there we go. Oh, kind of close. It was a Tim Burton movie. It was actually a very popular Tim Burton movie-ish. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was pleasant. But so we all went out to go see Corpse Bride. She didn't know about this, and so when she finds out that we've all been to a movie theater bar combination place, it was both, and actually that was kind of an interesting situation in and of itself. Oh hey, this was a survival level. Okay. But so when she found out, she threw a fit to the point where, like, we weren't going to get dinner, the next day, and, like, neither dinner nor lunch, which, I mean, is ridiculous, and, like, she had no authority to do this, especially as, like, some 28-year-old crazy lady. But so, effectively, all the kids at this point rebelled, and were like, nope, and we biked away. Pleasant thing about her, she could not bike. She was monstrously overweight. Like, I feel bad for, like, judging people based on physical appearance and stuff like that. But as a middle schooler, it is damn easy running away from a you know, 250-pound woman. on a bicycle who only has a tandem bike herself. So it's just kind of, yeah, because she couldn't, you know, keep up with the group without, you know, extra assistance, effectively. I felt bad about it, but at the same time, she was not a nice person, so it's just like, whatever. But so we generally would just kind of, like, leave her alone and go off and do our own thing, which, of course, was super dangerous, considering none of us knew how to get around the island, but, like, this was the extent of it. I think by the end of the trip, we'd, like, broken her. So by the time we came back, she kind of called an emergency youth group, like, reorganizational meeting. At which point, like, she pulled in a bunch of parents who I'd never even seen or heard of, like, their kids being part of the youth group before. But these were the, like, much more restrictive parents, kind of her sect of whatever church we were in, which is crazy because I think it was a Methodist church, which are generally fairly accommodating about everything. In fact, the Methodist church... my parents stopped going to this church because the pastor would not stop speaking of white guilt. My parents got kind of cranky at the sheer repetition of, like, you know, we have to outreach to the black community. And it's just like, I mean, I understand, like, you know, there are cultural disparities and stuff like this, and, like, there are social issues that need to be addressed here. But, like, it was effectively just, like, every single Sunday being like, you know, here is, you know, all of the things that we have that, you know, these inner city people don't have. And it's just like, all right, we get it. Like, this is something that needs to be worked on. Let's move on with this. And just, nope. Crap. Well, I'm not getting any of those. Time to save the money. Yeah, white guilt is effectively, like, guilt for kind of the creation of the current social disparity between certain socioeconomic groups in the country. So, you know, inner city people versus not inner city people. Generally white people versus, you know, African Americans or Chinese or whatever. But usually it's in relation to, you know, the white people effectively messing up the African American community by even doing, well, by having slavery, you know, all the way back in, what, 1800s? And earlier. So it's like, I kind of understand why, like, this sort of thing is, like, a thing. And, like, I'm sure, again, once again, I'm going to offend somebody for this. But it's one of those where it's like, the bearing is kind of left, it's marked to the point where it's like, I understand, like, there's some amount of, like, reparations that need to be done, or at least restructuring to the point of, like, people not being hella racist is important. But at the same time, you know, constantly guilting people about it is not super necessary. But so that's why my parents left. But back to the story, seeing as I was actually, since I've derailed myself pretty hard here, that is a garbage chest. Waffle still hates the slaves. You do hate people that are, you know what? I'm not even gonna go into that. I know you're being trolly, but still, okay. Yeah, can't help what my ancestors did. God, I was sitting next to a Boston College professor on the train back a while back, and he was very, very adamant about, like, white people should still feel guilty about what their ancestors did. And I'm like, look, you're not even from, like, a slave line. You're telling me about this. You're from Britain. Your family came from South Africa, which, I mean, admittedly is its own problem, but still. I don't know. Whatever. It was ridiculous, and I didn't like it. Like that conversation. It was strange. But so this lady, back to the story, calls effectively an emergency meeting because, you know, everybody has effectively rebelled and gotten to the point where, like, she can't control them anymore. And since there's, like, no pastor around, it's one of those where it's just like, alright, so she's effectively head honcho until somebody either sits her down or takes her place. Well, sits her down and says no, or takes her place. So most of the kids were just like, nah, we don't care anymore. And eventually I think we got a new pastor, and I have no idea what happened to her, but, suffice to say, she was, like, very, like, in proposing, like, new rules and stuff like that, to the point where, like, my mother actually had to walk out of the meeting because it was getting crazy talk levels of, like, ridiculous. So for example, one of the parents whose kid had never been, who had never ever been to youth group or anything like that, which, I mean, doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't deserve a voice in this situation, but it was one of those where, this kid's father is effectively in the meeting just trying to, like, lead everybody, and this is one of those kids that I never really liked. He was effectively a bully. He found a picture of me from, like, 6th grade when I had a bowl cut, and printed up like 300 times, whatever, and posted it all over my classroom. He actually, I mean, it was just flat out bullying, and nobody gave a shit when I was dealing with him. I did not like elements of school, to say the slightest. Okay, but so his dad is this similarly bullyish type guy. So he decides to sit down, and effectively he had actually charted effectively the rules of the youth group, which involved you know, kicking you out, never letting you back if you didn't go twice a week, because they were going to increase it because apparently the kids weren't godly enough or whatever, which was ridiculous. And like any of the reasonable adults were like no, but all of the like really forceful ones were just like yes, you know, this has to be a thing. You know, our kids, you know, are losing their way. You know, look at all these like bad things going on around the country. We can't let this happen. It's just like we're in the middle of Massachusetts, like one of the more liberal states in the U.S., and it's just like, I'm sorry, like this doesn't seem like good plan, period. But I guess you guys are super gung ho about it, so I guess I'll just let you do whatever you do. Now let's make a lot of money here. Let's make a lot of money here. Wow, we are fabulously wealthy. But so eventually it was just kind of one of those where it's like my mother walks out, and like I'm just in another room playing sardines, because what the heck do you do in a empty church with nothing to do apart from like it being a mandatory meeting? And so my mother walks out, and it's like, all right, we can go down. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And I think I was the sardine hiding. So I actually found somebody else who was seeking me, and I'm like, hide, but don't you know, don't hide. Just keep people looking for me forever. And apparently people were pretty pissed at me for this one. I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. Keep people looking for me for a very long time. Okay. But, I don't know. It was ridiculous, and my mother is like, alright, you're not going back. Like, this is stupid. Like, why would anybody want to go back to this sort of thing? And that was kind of a nice situation for me, because it's just like, I don't want to go back. This lady's crazy. Nothing's fun. Oh god. Other weird stories from kind of the same situation. I don't know if people have ever heard of, like, a white elephant party or a Yankee swap. A Yankee swap is effectively a gift swap where you bring kind of a grab bag gift, not a specific gift for somebody, but like you can effectively hand it to them, and they open it up, and it's a surprise at first. So I guess they actually pick it at random. So you have like a table filled with gifts, and everybody gets a number 1 through whatever number of people there are, and the first person can actually steal a gift, and everybody can steal a gift from the previous person, as well as the first person gets the final pick effectively of what they get, because you know they don't have any idea and can't steal from anybody. So it's kind of fair. Everybody wants to go first, whereas second is like super garbage, and like certain gifts can only be stolen multiple times. I have no idea. Okay, but effectively I end up landing myself with a CD book, not the most glamorous of things, and I brought like I think $15 worth of gun. $15 worth of guns. No, $15 worth of gum, candy, miscellaneous other stuff. So not exactly the best gift ever, but neutral enough that like middle and high schoolers would probably not mind it. Unfortunately, what ended up happening is I don't know who did this, or maybe I did actually end up doing this to myself. But so you have to pick a gift. So I actually end up picking a thing that looks like an ice cream tub to see what's in. Let's see. Oh, hello. Ah, crap. I don't have enough money for these things. I spent it all on money-making items. Okay, that seems reasonable in retrospect. But so... essentially I get landed with a ice cream tub of junk. Literally junk. You know McDonald's toys? You know how McDonald's will, like, have those toys that just are garbage, no matter how you look at them, except for the very occasional thing that is not complete crap? This was one of those, where it's just like, here's just a load of nothing, padded out with tissue paper to make it look like it's actually worth getting. And that was the extent of, like, what the mystery gift was. So effectively, nothing anybody would want, no monetary value was put in, apart from just cleaning out a old toy closet that needed cleaning out for no good reason. I don't know who thought they should, like, let this kid get away with bringing this, but effectively here I am sitting with a bucket full of broken toys. Now, I'm like 15, 16. So, like, the reality of the situation is, like, I don't give a shit about, like, what I get. It's more kind of the thought of the matter of, like, this is just incredibly rude and unfair that it's like, here you go, here's your piece of crap. And, like, I think this had happened the week before where I did the same thing with the Boy Scouts. And this is actually the only reason why I don't do, like, mystery gift stuff anymore. Well, I sort of do. Kind of depending. But, like, the week before I ended up getting a set of plastic spoons. Because I ended up getting shafted with it because somebody thought it would be a great idea to give a bunch of, you know, Boy Scouts plastic spoons. Like, the nice kind of kitchen kind. But, like, who gives a shit? You don't even want to bring these things to camping. Because they're big and unwieldy, and, like, you don't bring this stuff. You love useless toys. These weren't even useless toys. These weren't, like, a broken Cyclops figurine from the 90s. That would have at least been, like, semi-repairable, or at least interesting. Now, this was like vending machine toys. This was McDonald's toys. You know, the kind of stuff you never, ever want to give a kid. Because maybe, well, I mean, a kid never would want. And I wasn't even a kid anymore. I mean, 15, 16, somewhere in there. So it's like, I have zero concept of use for any of these things. And I'm just generally offended that, you know, I spent 15 bucks of my own money to get trash in response. I think eventually the, like, pastor felt bad for me and gave me whatever he had, which I cannot remember at all. But, like, it was just, like, the most garbage event that I had ever, set of events I had ever been to. You know what, we're in here for the long haul, I guess. Look at all these things to buy. I can't afford all of them. And I just bought me a bunch of gilded vials, effectively. Oh well. I'm just gonna keep my items up. It's much more interesting this way. It was garbage. It was just utter tripe, and I was pissed. But no, I don't know. By the end of it, and like the kid that was sitting there, I almost never like really want to like hit somebody in the face, but like this kid was sitting there laughing as though it was like the greatest joke ever that he'd given me trash for like a mystery gift present, and he just sat there laughing and laughing and pointing and laughing, and nobody ever told him to shut up either. I feel like this is kind of like the background for like Joker or something like that, and it's just like, you know, this little shit just kept laughing and laughing, so you know, I gave him something to laugh about. No. It wasn't one of those. It was just like, all right, well, at this point, I give up. This isn't worth it. You know, here are these people that are effectively allowed to get away with being just giant assholes, and we're supposed to be taught, you know, the meaning of like being a good person. It's just like, I feel like somewhere along the way the message was lost in favor of just being a social club, and ultimately I kind of gave up on the idea. But speaking of like the mystery gift thing, seeing as we've got the seeing as we've got the mystery gift thing going on, I might as well talk about something that I don't think I've talked about before, and I'm not supposed to talk about, but I also don't care. If you saw my Vagante video a while back, I was talking about getting kicked from my frat, effectively. So at this point, I really don't have a whole lot of, like, respect for, like, what the organization is. But I won't talk about, like, what it is specifically, just so people can't find out who I am. And or, like, they can't trace this back to me. I mean, pretty much anybody from this organization is going to know. I tell fairly identifying stories. And at that point, yeah, whatever, who cares? I'm a large enough YouTuber that it's not going to be that big of a deal. At some point, I will probably announce to the world, it's like, yep, this is what I do. But for now, nah, whatever. Okay, but so every year, the frat I belong to would do a mystery gift. Secret Santa, effectively. You were given somebody, and you had to come up with a gift that was mildly offensive to them, but, you know, kind of pranky. So, like, the really default, like, I'm not a creative person and can't come up with anything at all, even remotely. Oh god, this is a wealth of stories that I don't think I can stop. Okay, well, this might actually take multiple episodes to talk about. Well, let's see if we can actually get multiple cycles in here. This is a pretty ridiculous run, though. Let's buy the chest while we're here. More batteries! I'd like some bomb squad armor. Unfortunately, not so much, though. Let's save up our... Ooh, that is a big one. Ow! Do not get hit by his face, apparently. What do we get? More jumps! We are not getting a whole lot of, like, truly good items along the way here. Oh, well. Okay, but so, it was fun. The non-creative junk gift was effectively to just buy the person a dildo, which honestly was stupid and not very creative, but it happened anyway. And that was always accompanied by snickers from the person who gave it, and then everybody else is just like, you're boring. Because usually the best gifts were the ones that were given creatively. Unfortunately, there were a lot of gifts that were given wildly out of taste and to the point of being ridiculously mean. Did Bird go to bed? I don't know if Bird went to bed. But so my roommate freshman year, oh god, he himself is a piece of work for a lot of reasons. Nice mother though. But so he had kind of a bad dad. I always felt bad for this one in retrospect, but it was funny at the time. But so his dad was kind of mean, you know, kind of neglectful, probably some kind of narcissist, but effectively had divorced the mother, and then eventually, you know, fled the state, moving south to Mexico for whatever reason. I don't even know what he did down in Mexico, but you know, he hadn't seen his own dad in like 10 years. Oh, okay, Bird is still here. I don't know. He just went silent. Let's get more black hole boxes. But so, let's see. But so this guy's dad for a while owned like a landscaping company, and actually had like a supply store, not unlike Home Depot, but like much smaller, and it sold a lot of like plant-based stuff. Okay. Doesn't look like I'm dropping frames here. Okay, so I don't have to worry about it. There are a lot of shops here. A lot of places for me to waste my money. Hopefully I can get a pilfer engine somewhere along the way here. Ow, they hurt. Okay. Going to bed like 40 minutes ago, and then the story kept going and going, and then I fired myself into a saw blade while reading chat. Damn it. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay, so I'll tell this section of the story, and then I'll go talk about it later when somebody reminds me, or I get close to the topic again. Okay, but so Secret Santa, you have to get a rude present to the person. This guy, my freshman year roommate's dad owned effectively a cactus farm, and conscripted my freshman year roommate to effectively work for him for no pay for years. He was pissed about it. And Birdcatcher killed me again. Yeah, it's true, but this was a 54-minute run, so I don't really care. Oh man, my arm is so itchy. I'm probably gonna bleed because of this, but I don't care. It's better than itching. Fuck poison ivy. But so worked on a cactus farm for years, and was super sour about it, especially because his dad was effectively absentee dad, jerk dad, yada yada yada. So what ends up happening is somebody comes to me, being his roommate, and is like, alright, I don't know much about this guy. What do I get him for his Secret Santa present? I'm like, small cactus. He was so mad. Like, you could tell he was just very unhappy. And, like, I didn't realize it struck as much of a nerve doing this, but, like, effectively, this pocket cactus managed to make it through all 4 years of college, showing up in his room occasionally. He even chucked it against a wall, managed to shatter the pot, did not injure the cactus, though. And we managed to revive it, bring it back, and bring it back for him next year. We keep it in the server room, actually, near the servers, because it was dry and it was hot. And then we'd bring it out for the sun every once in a while and stuff like that. It was pretty rough. But it was a pretty mean gift, but at the same time, it was hilarious at the time. Because nobody knew that about him except for me. And so everybody was just like, you know, what's so funny about this? And effectively had to tell the story. Or somebody did. I might have, I don't know. Maybe the guy who gave the gift had to tell the story that he worked on a cactus farm for years. But from then, that actually solidified his nickname as Cactus Farmer. He was not happy about that. I might or might not have ruined our friendship as a result, which I feel kind of bad about. But I'm kind of a dick sometimes and I don't realize it. But yeah, no, there are many more Secret Santa gifts stories to tell. For now, that's it though. So I will see you guys in the next episode of Cavern Kings. And as always, thanks for watching. When I say pocket cactus, I mean like it's a fist-shaped cactus. It's not actually to be put in your pocket, it's just that small. God damn, why is my arm so itchy? I thought it was bites, but it's not bites. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it was hilarious. I loved it, but he did not take a joke. This guy did not take a joke at all.